So a mental unit is one place that I've been to, and I've never felt like going to that place again. But funnily, there are people who we went there with, but they feel like they want to work there their entire time, like their entire life. So what is the advantage and what are the disadvantages of being a psychiatric nurse? So we are going to talk about that today. Hello beautiful people, if you're new here, welcome to my channel. My name is Lois Odor, and on this channel I talk about nursing. I also give health tips and I do nursing and lifestyle vlogs. So if that is something you're interested in, then you should consider subscribing. So I went for my attachment in a mental unit for like 3 weeks, and like personally I never felt like going there anymore. But I'm not trying to discourage anyone who wants to become a psychiatric nurse, because on the other side it is also one of the, can I say, like most peaceful if you are taking it on the positive side. So today I just like to tell you the advantages I saw and the disadvantages I saw, so that you can just weigh out stuff if you want to be a psychiatric nurse. So starting out with the advantages is that first, it is so fun. Like, I think that place is one of the places that I've been laughing. Like every day you go to work, you're always laughing, because you find that, you know, most of the people there, they're like drug induced, and so, you know, like you just know the way people, you can imagine, like when you go out with your friends, you usually see the way whenever your friends get drunk, the way they usually behave. So you find a bigger percentage of those who are there, they're behaving the same way. So it is just so fun. Like you end up laughing the whole entire time, and you feel so connected. And at times you listen to music, at times you just sit down and dance, and it is so fun. The other thing is that you don't have all these kind of blood works and critical patients. You know, like in the normal wards, like the pediatric, the male and general wards, you find that most of the time you have a critical patient, someone is not breathing, you are doing resuscitations, you are doing blood transfusions, blood has poured on your hands. Like there's so much critical and blood works and so many things. But this is not in a mental unit. Like you're dealing with people who are just in the normal state, but the only problem is mental, but they're just in the normal state, so no critical things. Another thing is that you have one patient for long. So you know, most of the time in the general and the surgical wards, you might be having a patient today and tomorrow they are gone. You must be having a patient now, in 2 hours they are gone. And it's so, like, it really takes your, like, it's so discouraging. Like you even have patients, at times it takes longer, like 1 month, and the patient dies. Like in the general and the surgical wards, like having that patient, like having that close bond is not really that much, because it's either they discharge or they leave or they die and such kind of things. But when it comes to the mental unit, like chances of someone dying is really low. So you won't be seeing all those like death each and every time you're on your shift, someone is dying each and every time, like someone is critical and such kind of things. So you can have this patient for so long. Most of the time they're usually admitted for 6 months or even for a whole year. So every time you come, you see them, and they just become like family, and it feels so nice. Like every day you come, you see them, and you're seeing them improving every day, and at long last they'll be going home. Another thing is that they usually, most of the time, because they usually go home well, this is so satisfying. You know, most of the time in the other general wards, a patient might come in so critical and then they pass, and or something happens, and this is so discouraging. Like it usually breaks your heart in some way. But for most of the time in a mental unit, although some things like that can happen, but the majority of those clients usually go home well, and that is so satisfying. Another thing is that there's really minimum burnout. You know, when in the other wards, like the surgical and the general wards, I'm using that as an example, like you experience a lot of burnout. Like you've just come in for the morning duty, you want to start with medications. At times you're doing bed making. At times, if you're in other hospitals like Moranga, where I used to see people even changing diapers, you want to do bed making. You want to, at that time you're only 2 nurses, you want to change diapers for even 30 patients, and they're elder patients, like adults. And after that, you give medications to all of those 30 patients. After that, you are writing their cardex. After that, you are going to the, I don't know, stores. I don't know, you are doing this. But the time, like lunchtime, like when it gets to lunchtime, you're just so tired and you're so burnt out. And you find that this is not the same with the mental unit. Because for the mental unit, you just get in for the morning duty. The only thing you do, you just sit down and give the medications. After giving the medication, you lock the doors and you just sit, write the cardex, and you just sit. Like you don't have to keep on like going, checking, like Is the IV fluid still going? Did the flagyl that I kept on IV fluid still like flowing? Like, does the patient need anything? Like, most of these patients are just locked up. Not locked up is such like a jail, but they're just kind of locked up. After giving the medication, they can only ask for other things, but most of the time they will end up giving you burnout mentally, because for them, yes, they won't be telling you like it is not like you're going to continue giving them IV fluids and looking at their like urine bags and such kind of things, but yes, you're not going to burn out physically, but you're going to burn out mentally, because these people really talk. Like, they talk. I don't know if you had like someone who, these people really talk. Like, they just come and tell you, like, sister, nisaidie maji, sister, nisaidie toothpaste, sister, nisaidie tissue, sister, unaitwa nani, sister, umeolewa, sister, nakutaka, sister. So like, sometimes even they fight, like they say, yeye ni wangu, huyu ni wangu, like yeye ni wangu, wachana na yeye, and they're fighting and they're just draining you. Like, you look at them and you just feel you're tired, but not physically. At times they even talk to you. I remember there's this time, like, you find even the patients, like, they call you weird names. Like, they'll end up abusing you. Like, there's this time, this guy, he asked me like, wewe ni wa kabila gani? And I was like, personally, mimi sipendi kuongea about kabila yangu, nikanyamaza tu. This guy really he called me names like, wewe kwenda huko unachifanya hata una kabila, kwenda huko. Like, he called me all the kind of weird names that you could ever, like, it was so weird. So that is the kind of draining that they give to you. So when it comes to the disadvantages, the first one is the one that I've just talked about, the burnout you experience, mental burnout. Like, most of the time you'll only get a headache. Yes, you're not tired physically, but you'll only get a headache because you've been talking, you've been shouting. People have also been shouting back at you, so you can get that kind of burnout. The other disadvantage is that it is so disturbing, because at times these people, like, they act really weirdly. Like, they say weird things, they act weirdly. At times they even start, like, I remember this time, there's this client. I think she was, you know, they usually experience some moments of ups and downs, and whenever they feel so down, they become so angry, and they'll start calling you like, sister, nimesema nipatie maji. The moment you don't listen to what she's saying, hey, just pray to God that that door isn't open, because this one time I think someone forgot to close the door, and this client came out and he was threatening to beat us up. So you can find such kind of things. Like, it is so disturbing in terms of, like, anything can happen anytime, so you are always on alert. So this becomes so disturbing, because all these things they are saying, all these names they're calling you. If a person who cares, if you're this kind of a person who cares, when someone only, you know, for sure these people are not in the right mental state. So even if they call you like, malaya, you have to, like, just take that in and assume they are not in the right state. But if you're someone who that, like, let's say that those kind of things affect you, you're really going to feel like, geez, this, I cannot do this, I cannot do this. Apart from being disturbing, is that it is really dangerous, because let's say I was there alone, and that lady, the way she came out, she could have beaten you up, and maybe all the other, like, you can find, like, in one car hall they have even over 50 men. In the other side of ladies, even over 30 ladies. So if that door opens and maybe you are there alone, maybe the soldier just went out to get something, you can imagine, like, if they decided that they want to beat you up, they can really beat you up even to death. So it's a little bit dangerous, and you really need to be keen, and you really need to be on the look. Like, anything can happen, and yes, it is dangerous. So the only one way that you can make sure that you avoid such kind of things, because things happen, they can get out anytime. So the only way to survive is to be good to them, because these people are humans and they have feelings. So don't be that kind of a nurse that whenever they ask you, like, sasa unaitwa nani, you're like, you don't want to talk to them. Even like when they ask you, like, when in mrembo, you don't even want to say thank you. They talk to you, you don't want to say anything. You know, they usually master, they usually look at you. The time that they'll get into contact with you, they'll beat you up, because that is something that they've been, like, waiting for. So just be good to them, like, relate to them like your sisters and your brothers. And when you're good to them, even when maybe they come out, you know, at times they usually open the doors and they come out, like, they won't have that, like, eager to, like, harm you in any way. The other thing is that you don't get the fulfillment in terms of total patient care, because at times you find most of the people like it that when they are in the nursing field, they get the fulfillment, like you can take care of the patient wholly, like their nutritional needs, the elimination needs and that kind of thing. So you find that mostly here, like you won't get the fulfillment of total patient care. The other thing is that you have to fit in. So you remember most of the time these people, like the different kind of ages. So you'll find you have a 19-year-old and yet you are a nurse and maybe you are 40. So this 19-year-old will come to you and start telling you, nilikuwa nataka kunike hip hop nisikie, so you know, the moment that you tell them miss inanga wimbo ya hip hop, they'll start arguing with you and calling you names. So at times when they come and say mimi nataka wimbo za hip hop, you have to look for that hip hop song and like let the music play so that they can listen to that music, so that you can just be in good terms. Like most of the time it is just about being in good terms. So at times you'll end up even fitting in, so that at least you can just keep on sharing the relations and make them feel like they belong. So I hope I haven't discouraged anyone, because it is not that bad, it is not that scary, like it is a really nice place to be, but you really need to be sure. Like most of the time, every type of nursing, be it pediatric, be it maternity, you really need to be sure. So just be sure if this is what you want, and I feel like if it's something that you really like, it is one of the best places to be. So thank you so much for watching this video. See you on my next video. Bye bye.